I welcome to my chief guest, Dr. Sanjay sir, Mr. Pankaj Dubey sir, and my colleague and dear friends and students. Very good evening. Today with us, Dr. Sanjay is from USA and Mr. Pankaj Dubey is from India. Today is UN International MSc Day. In India also, our Prime Minister is focusing to grow MSME and giving message to our young generation that to become a job creator, not to a job seeker. Myself, Dr. Rashmi Gujarati, Professor and Dean of Management and Head of the Department of International Business Management and Head of the Institution's Innovation Council. We are running our Technia Incubator. We motivate the students to go for business and to become entrepreneurs. As a teacher, Swami Vivekananda has said, the role of teacher is imparting man making and nation building. Same, Chanakya has said, teacher is a maker of nation. As a teacher, we are trying to do our best and trying to give our contribution to our nation. Today, the MSc important is of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in national economics is well known as well as in their global impact. Since by the number, they dominate the world business stage. Micro, small and medium enterprises continue to be on the move, recognized globally for their contributions to innovation and improving economic conditions. MSMEs are involved universally for impact they have on every part of the society by being the number one job creators. To better understand MSME, it is important to acknowledge that they are continuously overcome with the countless of challenges in an ever-changing marketplace. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Ajay Kumar. Please, Dr. Ajay Kumar, Director of Technia Institute of Advanced Study, to welcome our guest.
Good evening in India and good morning in US. So I take this opportunity to extend our special welcome to our star-studded panel on the occasion of United Nations International MSME Day and the form of a technical webinar on the topic MSME, the growth engine of New India. At the onset, I welcome keynote speaker of technical webinar, Dr. Sanjay Singh Gaur, Professor of Marketing Department of Integrated Marketing Division, School of Professional Studies, New York University, New York. Sir, I welcome you on this webinar, sir. Dr. Pankaj Dubey, President and CEO, D-Spin Consulting India. So I welcome the mentor of this technical session, Dr. Ram Kailash Gupta, Chairman, Technia Group of Institution, Dr. Rashmi Gujarati, Dean, Technia Institute of Advanced Studies on the occasion. Sir, Technia Institute of Advanced Studies was one of the premier institutes set up under the aegis of Health and Education Society, a registered body, and is Technia Institute of Advanced Studies NAAC accredited A-grade institute, duly approved by All India Council of Technical Education, Ministry of HRD, Government of India, and affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh International University, and is recognized under Section 2F of UGC Act 1956, established under the country's capital in the year 1998. As an educational professional, Technia Institute of Advanced Studies is ISO 9001:15, ISO 14001:2015 certified institute for its quality management systems, environmental management systems, and for its well-established systems and procedures for imparting quality education. In MBA, BBA, Bachelor of Journalism and Mass Communication, and BCA program. So we have taken this topic of technical webinar, as we know that the COVID-19 pandemic condition has made a huge tragedy on the nation and the world. Loss of life, loss of health, loss of income, and more have all made this time more challenging in the recent memory. We have been seeing that the Government of India has made up an initiative Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 1st of June revised officially the MSME definition as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan relief package, which was approved. The investment and turnover figures were changed to larger values, thereby resulting in a large number of medium enterprises. Now, micro enterprises, investment up to 1 crore, turnover up to 5 crore, small enterprises, investment up to 10 crores and turnover up to 50 crores, and medium enterprises, that is investment up to 50 crores and turnover up to 250 crores. The government has revised this MSME definition on 13th May 2020. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman added that additional principle of turnover along with the investment. She has made that composite criteria for investment and annual turnover. It classified the system on manufacturing and services. So MSME definition has been changed. Here, the key announcement of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, 3 lakh crore collateral free automatic loan for MSME, rupees 50,000 crore equity infusion through MSME funds, rupees 20 crores subordinate debt for MSME, extension of registration and completion date of real estate projects under RERA, immediate pending refunds, issuance to all the charitable trusts, and extensions of the due date for ITR financial year 1920 to November 30, 2020. So this input, headquarters of the New Delhi, the Ministry of MSME is a branch of Government of India, the apex body of the formulation of administration of rules and laws pertaining to the micro, small and medium sector enterprises in the country. Having created 11 crore job opportunities in India while contributing to the GDP to the tune of 29%, we can say the MSME is the heart of the Indian economy, and the change in this definition will enable that the Indian enterprise to carry out their business better. The new MSME definition is making new ever since October 19 with a hope to create 5 crore job opportunities in MSME sector. The government has announced about making changes in MSME definition when they have made definition with change of turnover and investment put into it. Then when we look for the 2020, there are certain trends. I have put on with the 20 trends, 10 trends as far as the MSME sector which can look upon over here in India. First trend, as far as the top MSME trends which projections for the 2020, inside MSME are the fabric of the communities reaching many sustainable development goals without realizing it, yet they can be empowered to do more. MSME can become the measuring stick of how we are achieving the SDGs. That is very important, SDGs. Then access to the finance and the new option available. MSME and entrepreneurs will have the option to available that even before to the finance these companies, many banks will launch new financial products aimed at micro, small and medium sized enterprises, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and slowly evolving into viable new options, additional new mediums such as peer-to-peer lending, crowdfunding, invoice factoring, and corporate finance. These are all expected to increase rapidly. 8. Attracting a new workforce for MSME or SME. SMEs should jump onto the opportunity for hiring the new millennial by offering them the stability of the quality job, the benefit of innovation, encouraging creativity, and the opportunity to grow as incentives to attract the best and the brightest. Co-working space is becoming the new normal. A millennial are the workforce of the future. They will be able to offer a best skill set, mindset, and productivity to SMEs. It's the HIP to work for SMEs. So again, developmental part when you look to education needs a fresh, serious, and relevant look upon to look into these areas. Customization is the new hot topic for MSME. MSME can no longer compete on price convenience, on location. Big business have discovered how to deliver their products to their clients on the same day and at the same lower prices. Artificial intelligence, machine learning are becoming more sophisticated. Alexa, Siri, and Google are the popular household names. Given their size and coupled with it, artificial intelligence, big business, big data have developed an one size fit all for many products. For mass consumption, MSME cannot compete at this level. This has to be looked upon for in time to come. Then 6 points would be MSME is redefining the innovation processes. The human touch and the human experience will never be replaced. However, the advances in the artificial intelligence, robotics, technology, and redefining what is meant by innovation, reverse innovation, re-engineering are allowing for radically, rapidly new vision on creating a new products and services. Projects that used to cost billions of dollars now are a tenth of the cost because of the open up of the window of innovation. One open the ideas and the markets will accelerate. This trend will flow further. So this area is to be further explored. We have to find out a bright practical innovation for fructification of these areas and flexibility for bigger companies that require more time and resources. This can be again worked upon. Then the fourth, MSME are about doing business in a human way. MSMEs hold a special place in people's hearts because they are as human as we are. Industrialization, robots, artificial intelligence are the fad now and will continue to stay and grow. Yet the heart will always yearn for a human touch. This is very important. So the recommendation over here, technology is a tool for improvement of a new business. The human element, again, we have to make it MSME unique and longer lasting. Treat your employees with the dignity and respect, engage your customers with warmth and human smile. Human enterprise is all encompassing in time to come. And another trend is MSME and the navigating trade war. The various projects, globe trade wars, will be a major issuing impacting factor of MSME. The gloves has come out between the two larger economies of the world, and imposition of tariffs by each countries has plunged the world economy in turmoil. We have seen China and US trade wars. The MSME cannot escape the fallout from such fight and feel the impact. It will get worse if the trade wars continue. There is an African proverb that says, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers the most. The MSME cannot escape the fallout into these fight, and we are feeling the impact of that. MSME has to believe that they can do little to influence the impact of such pervasive macro political forces. They are actions they can take, minimize the disruption to their business. The first, they have to increase the communication with their stakeholders, especially employees, customers, and suppliers. Second is to understand and keep the abreast with the latest trade issues in an effort and to anticipate their impact on the key stakeholders. Finally, by understanding your supply chain and the alternative actions you and your business can take, you are in a better position to let those you know at the level of the national level, and the trade wars are hurting your workers, communities, and the customers and suppliers. That can be overcome. And the second one, we can say that the impact of 1.8 billion, who will transform the future. Then the projections for the number 2 position for 19 is the impact of economy on the 1.8 billion youth. According to United Nations population, UNFPA, there have never been so many young people in the age of 10 to 24 in the world. The demographics is also growing fastest in the developing nations and is coupled with the change in the emerging markets worldwide. the transformation will occur. How this happen will be done by the youth, but must be supported by the established institutions. So the youth are already redefining the workplace and the definition of work. There are many stakeholders who will be impacted. Our economy and educational infrastructure must lead the way for integrating the workers of tomorrow, many of whom are seeking to be part of human work environment. The education sector in particularly need to be more forward looking and start preparing for the ever changing workplace at all levels, and the meeting of work to this formidable group they have arrived that has to work on. And lastly, the most important for MSME is the power of belief. The number of trend for this is broadly captured by the power of belief. For many years, question around entrepreneurship was nature versus nurture. It was argued by the many that to be an entrepreneur was something innate. There are others who argued that entrepreneurship was a learned behavior. In 2019, those arguments have gone by the wayward once for all. Everything you do, everywhere you go, from to the one level to another, refugee camps, remote village, to the all, you can say large urban areas, the belief that a person can create something of economic and social value is real. Entrepreneurship is no longer the domain of rich, well-connected, or gender-specific. Women, especially women, youth, families, and the disabled particularly are transforming their societies and using the power of belief in themselves to energize this economy and encouraging the creation of sustainability of MSME by not just sustaining business, but the creation of maintaining adaptability, vibrant ecosystem. It starts with a belief, the power of belief, and lead to the meeting to the challenges represented by the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Developmental Goal. To have a meaningful impact, all of us must engage ourselves on the power of belief to continue the effort to create, grow, and sustain our economies and the social enterprises. When I'm looking out for the great lockdown, past 3 to 4 months, we have seen a great lockdown and its impact on small business. Since March 23rd onwards, small business, though run by the women, young entrepreneurs, are being hit hardest by the economic fallout. The pandemic, unprecedented lockout measures enacted to contain the spread of coronavirus has resulted in supply chain disruption and a massive drop in demand in most sectors. To continue to play their crucial role in creating decent job and improving livelihood, small businesses depend more than ever on an enabling business environment, including support to access to finance, information, and markets. These types of enterprises are responsible for significant employment and income generation opportunities across the world and have been identified as a major driver of poverty alleviation and development with a goal of overcoming these challenges. So International Trade Center, United Nations entity, workers in the internationalization of the micro and SMEs, the centers are launched, its flagship report, I have gone through that. The SMEs Competitiveness Outlook 2020, COVID-19, a great lockdown and its impact on small business, big money of small business. So again, it's a learning curve, a new experience we are going through. I feel it that this is only just an opening remark as far as United Nations MSME Day is concerned. I want that this is the opportunity that our student will be able to learn. Now they should look on to be joining this Technia Incubation Center, as our punchline says, the crucible of Eureka. So you can be able to develop a Eureka out of nowhere. So my submission to our students, we have got eminent scholars across over here. They will be unfolding unleashing their new, you can say, technology, new ideas, new, you can say, experiences, and it's going to be having a new experience and learning curve for us. So Dr. Sanjay Singh Gaur and Mr. Pankaj Dubey, all you can say keynote speakers on today's topic. Sir, we welcome you and we expect you that most our feelings will be quenched by your good quantum of, you can say, approach in this area, which we are looking forward, how to create a small business, how to create a medium business, or how to create a something from nothing idea to make it a small and then to make it a micro and medium. So this kind of mindset can be infused in the mind of students, that they should not look out for jobs, rather they should create jobs for others to come in over there and help the nation's GDP in a better way. Thank you very much, Madam Rashmi Gujarati, and I'm passing on the baton to you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have lighted on MSME. Now, I would welcome to Dr. Sanjay. He is from USA. Dr. Sanjay Singh is currently a clinic professor of marketing at New York University School of Professional Study. He has over 25 years of academic career in USA, Malaysia, New Zealand, Germany, Sweden, South Korea, and India. Prior to joining NYU, Dr. Gaur held appointments at Sunway University Business School, Malaysia, Auckland University of Technology, New Zealand, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Bombay, and SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Bombay. While teaching is Dr. Gaur's passion, he has also made important contribution to research. He is an associate editor at the Journal of Asia Business Studies and a member of editorial board for several leading journals, including Journal of Business Research and Journal of World Business. His research spans across micro and macro level. At the micro level, his research is in the broad domain of behavior research involving social psychological constructs such as human emotion, decision-making, social identity, ethics, and actions. This work has been applied to the study of consumers, salespersons, managers, patients, doctor, and organization. At the micro level, he has examined how firm level issues such as market orientation governance, CSR, inter-organizational trust, and top management team characterize affect the strategies and performance of firms in different geographical settings. The research setting in his empirical work include Germany, New Zealand. He has received several Best Paper Award from the American Marketing Association in 17, 19, and 20. It is a very big opportunity for us that we and my students are here to listen you. You are in the USA, and by the internet, we are here to listen you. I welcome you, Dr. Sanjay sir.
सारा दिन देख लो गर्मी में रहती नीचे नहीं ले
Thank you, Dr. Gujarati. It's my pleasure to be talking to you, your colleagues, and your students this morning for me and evening for you people. As you know, it's a very quick thing. When yesterday you requested me, I was still not thinking that it's few hours from the time you were talking to me. And then I realized that the time is when normally I sleep. So I normally get up after 10 o'clock. So you can imagine that I'm still sleeping, forcing myself to remain awake, and hopefully I'll do justice. So let me share my screen, but you have disabled screen sharing. So somebody has to enable the sharing so I can.
Yeah,
It's open now, sir. It's open now.
I have a small presentation The professors have a bad habit of talking and always showing something, writing something. So we don't have the whiteboard and blackboard. So I just made a small presentation. I thought, I didn't know that it's about 15 to 20 minutes. So I have to make it a non-interactive presentation, I will say. Usually I make interactive presentation and I would have loved to involve your students in interaction, but I think it's not enough time. So I will make this presentation. I'll talk about things, and as you will see in the next slide, the agenda, I'm a fan of 4 W's and 1 H. I forget the name of a philosopher who said that if you want to do anything in this world, just think about 4 W's and 1 H, and you will be on your way to achieve what you want to achieve. So since then, I'm a fan of these 4 W's and 1 H, and in which I use these W and H depends on the situation. So today we are talking about MSME, growth engine for New India. And so therefore, I'm going to talk about why MSME, what MSME, what type of MSME, when to get into a MSME, where to start your MSME, and how. So these are the 5 things that I'm going to talk about, which means 5 slides, and hopefully that will be within the time. I want to start by saying that actually from the very evolution of human beings, the first business organization that started was a micro enterprise. So it's not the growth engine for New India. I will say it has been the growth engine for any nation or any society or any community anywhere in the world at any point of time. The very first business organizations that were created were all micro enterprises, which grew to the level of a small, and those grew to the level of medium, and then they became very big. And you have plenty of examples. One very clear and astonishing example is the Birla Group of Industries. So if you see the forefathers of G.D. Birla, they were basically running a micro enterprise, which was trading. They were getting spices, putting them on the back of the horses, and going from village to village, door to door, and selling those spices. That was a micro enterprise. And from that level of micro enterprise, you know, the Aditya Vikram Birla Group, I think it's called now, or I don't know if it is changed to Kumar Mangalam. I really don't know about it, but that Birla is same large, huge organization which was created by somebody who started first as a micro enterprise. So this is just the genesis why I'm saying MSME. Today, I think amongst the top 10 richest businessmen is Mr. Mukesh Ambani. And if you look at the history of Dhirubhai Ambani, you will see in his very early age, he was running a micro enterprise where he was selling paints on a hand cart. And you all must have seen hand carts in India. I think they are still there. So he was putting paint on the hand cart and selling it door to door, sometimes in small industrial area, then sometimes in other places. So that was a micro enterprise. And from that micro enterprise, today you see the huge mega enterprise. So this is just to motivate you, to give an example that MSME is not just the growth engine for the nation. It is a necessity for India and Indians. And why I say for India and Indians, because India is a huge country with a population, I think perhaps we are no more second to China. Perhaps we are matching with China, maybe statistically we may be slightly behind them. So such a huge population, there is no way that everybody can be employed in the infrastructure or opportunities created by the government are just a few large businesses. So it's necessary as an Indian for me to be able to create an employment for myself, because nobody is going to give me employment. Sometimes when I interact with my friends in India and young people like you, one question comes, and that people always say, I get the job, but my job is paying me, despite of my engineering undergraduate degree and MBA, I'm getting only 5,000 a month, 10,000 rupees a month, 20,000 rupees a month. Don't be surprised. These are all the market pictures. Somebody is playing with my screen. I don't know why I see these, you know, the green scratches or something. I don't know what's happening. Nothing at my end. It says, okay now. So I always ask them, yes, you're right. You know, when I was professor at IIT Bombay, several years back, 1996, 97, those days salaries were not very good, even in the government organization. But if I just complain that these salaries are not enough for the lifestyle that I want to have and give to my family and children, it's useless. There was no benefit of complaining. So I started my own micro enterprise, run my micro enterprise. So the point is that this could be to supplement your income. This could be to create income. This could be to help you realize your dream. And who does not want in this world to enjoy the fun of being your own boss? I mean, all the young people that I have met in my life, nobody likes the boss. And the reality is that the boss and the head of the family, that is your father, you have no choice to select. You get them. And when you get them, you have to bear with them as long as you are with them. So everybody wants freedom. And when you start your own enterprise, that freedom is what you get. You enjoy being your own boss. And eventually, actually, you create large scale employment at very low cost. Think about the people who just run a small retail store. Even those people who run a small retail store or a beauty parlor, they are giving employment to so many people. Not only the people who work for them, but also the people who supply things to them. You may have one person retail store or one person beauty parlor, but you get supplies from people. These people who are supplying you, you have created employment for them. And that's what I mean by using the chain effect to create the large scale employment. Second region, micro and small enterprises particularly are agile businesses. The whole world is talking about agility. And during this COVID-19, you have seen that even the huge organizations have to become agile. They had no choice. Institutions like yours or the world-class institutions like Harvard, they all have to become agile. Within few days, they have to leave their classrooms. They have to leave their traditional ways of teaching, get into the online system and interact with you, examine you, provide you the education without compromising on anything. So that's called agility. And COVID-19 has shown that you may be a big elephant like Harvard or a small micro enterprise. You need agility, means adaptability, flexibility, speed with which you can change, and innovations that you can make. Micro and small enterprises provide you opportunity for that. Of course, in any country, when something is government's priority area, there are many other advantages. For example, there may be tax benefits, there may be easy finance available, there may be technological support and whatnot. So fortunately, at this point of time, you all are very, very, very lucky because Government of India has made it a priority area to the extent that there are very, very few countries in the world where there is a ministry of MSME. So you are one of the leading countries to have this ministry of MSME. Availability of finance is lot more easier than what it used to be in past. Technology is accessible. Technology has created level playing field. In fact, I'm a marketing professor. What we use for marketing and communications, the huge cost of advertising on television, radio, newspapers, you don't need, they are not effective. The large companies have all gone into digital marketing, using social media, technology in their favor for more effective communication with their audience. That's where you have level playing field. Nobody can stop you from using your talent to use the technology the way you want to use it for building your business. Infrastructure has been created, incubators, your own incubator in your own institution is an example. So there are infrastructure that has been created for you to do this. Now going to the next slide, what? The point is anything in this world that you can imagine you want to do to make money, there is a wide scope and a deep scope. You can think about services. You can talk about technical services. Just imagine until few years back, how many people had air conditioners at their home. Today, huge population has got air conditioners. Why can't you start a chain of air conditioning repair and maintenance service, a chain in your local area, and grow it and make it big? It's a huge business. It's a huge opportunity that can move from micro enterprise to small to medium scale enterprise. So you can have technical services, you can have non-technical services, logistics, delivery. These are non-technical services. Manufacturing, very simple product, like a package from paper. As you know that the plastic use in India and worldwide is being discouraged. Paper packaging is something that's pretty relatively easy. It's a simple product. To high-tech products. You can do trading to begin with in local market and then go international. When, again, somebody is playing with my screen, I can see a black color sketch mark. So please stop playing with the screen, otherwise it distracts. So when, and the answer is anytime, whenever you are ready. There is no specific age or time. You can start your business during your study. Now, tomorrow, you can do it after completion of your study. You can do it after working for someone else for a few years, or you can do it after retirement. Evaluate your circumstances. Everyone's circumstances are different. I told you I started my micro enterprise while I started my job in 1996 as a professor, because the money was not enough for me to achieve the lifestyle that I wanted for myself and my family. There is no age. The question is, evaluate your circumstances and see wherever you are ready. Where? Again, the answer is anywhere. Anywhere. Wherever in this world you like to start your business. Anywhere. In your hometown, in your the institution where you are studying right now. In Faridabad, I guess you are located in Faridabad, if I'm correct. So anywhere, wherever you like, you can identify the potential locations based on demand and supply. The whole business is all about demand and supply. What is it that people need more in certain area, which you are ready to supply? The whole concept of trading is based on that. Remember, opportunities are everywhere. Opportunities are within your, I don't know if you live in hostels, within your hostels. Opportunities are in your classroom. Opportunities are everywhere. It's just that you need to open your eyes and think out of box. Don't think and look like everybody else does in this world. India is a land of opportunities due to its population density. I always say anywhere you have plenty of customers to do business. Imagine countries like Sweden, only 8 million population, country like New Zealand, about 5 million population. These countries have so many businesses, so many things with such a few people to do business. They are trying to get enough customers. You have huge population and it's a dense population, and therefore anywhere you can do business. My very simple motto or slogan for you is think big, but start small and make big. Beat Dhirubhai Ambani, beat GD Birla. Think big, start small, that's the micro, or small, and make it big. Make it another Reliance of India. My final slide, how. So 4 W's are done. Now I'm talking about 5th, that is the H, how. And let me tell you, you know the answer to this the best. There are a lot of counselors everywhere. There are consultants available in India, in every place, who are willing to help you. There are campus-based incubators like Technia incubators, where you have experts who are willing to provide you assistance and guide you. The government has created opportunities like MSME, developmental institutes, state government agencies like district industry centers, small industry development centers. All these are available. But let me tell you, from my experience around the world, most successful businesses from micro to large were not created with the help of others. They were all created by the promoters using their own common sense, and common sense about what people need, what is it in short supply, what is it that I can do easily with the help of what I know. And you are coming from a generation which is known as digital natives. You are experts in digital technology. Use digital technology for your favor. Use digital marketing. That's a level playing field, low cost to do marketing, which is huge cost otherwise, and make it big. So that's how you will do it. And as I said, you don't need anybody to tell you how to do it. So that completes my presentation, and I'm not sure whether the question answer is right now or it's after all the sessions. So that's up to Dr. Gujrati, but I always welcome for questions, and thank you very much to each of you. I see about 150 people attending this webinar or the program, which is really great. And I thank each of you for the time that you have given to listen to me. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Gujrati.
Thank you very much, sir. And you have enlightened very good to our students that how they can focus on the MSME and how they can use our Technia incubator. And my big thanks, because in a short period, you have accepted my invitation. Thank you very much. You're giving us your precious time. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite our guest, Mr. Pankaj Dubey. He, first of all, I would also welcome and give a thanks because in a short period, you have also accepted our invitation. Last night in India night, there was a night Dr. Sanjay has accepted, and early morning when I call you and immediately you have accepted my invitation. Thank you very much. Now I like to welcome you in our this webinar. Mr. Pankaj Dubey is a TEDx speaker and well-established name in Indian industry, having contributed significantly to Yamaha, Hero, and Polaris. In his last position as managing director of Polaris India from 2011 to 2020, Mr. Dubey established the Indian startup operation of the 100% subsidiaries of Fortune 500 companies, Polaris, etc. He was the first employee, and now they have 200 plus employees and a profitable business in India by creating a luxury brand which is considering utility brand internationally. He focused on besides the South Asia market, Kazakhstan. He is credited with the introduction of Indian motorcycle, all-terrain vehicles and snow scooters in India. He was also instrumental and turned around of Yamaha India 2007 to 2010 and introduction of Yamaha motorcycle R15, FZ, SZ, Phaser, R1, FZ1, etc. as the national business head. He started the mobile business of Intex Technology 2005 to 2007 as business head besides handling sales and marketing for IT hardware and electronic business. He has led 3 startup operations. He was also the CEO of joint venture of Iker and Polaris 16 to 20, where an innovative product, a car cum pickup van cum generator named Multix was launched. He has rich experience of working closely with the American, Japanese, Chinese, German stakeholders, and he has been the board of director from nearly 4.5 years at joint venture of leading Indian automobile companies. I would like to welcome Mr. Pankaj Dubey, sir. Please welcome and enlighten us and our students that how they can start their business.
So good evening, everyone, and good morning to Sanjay. I would like to, it was a pleasure to join this forum with the students and this important day of United Nations MSME Day. Sanjay pointed out some very good examples from my experience also, I have gained experience where people like big entrepreneurs, the big entrepreneurs, they started off very small. I worked for Hero, and I know and I have heard from Mr. Munjal, OP Munjal and BM Munjal, as you know, that they are one of the biggest two-wheeler brand of the world, and also they manufacture the largest motorcycles in India. What Mr. Munjal had shared with me that when they started, they used to carry the bicycles on their shoulder, and they used to go and offer and try to sell those bicycles. So they started something very small, and they started from there. And today they have almost everything that anybody can dream of. So Sanjay pointed about Dhirubhai Ambani. Likewise, there are hundreds and cases in India. I would like to share some experience that I gained over the years, like when I worked for mostly auto component and two-wheelers when I joined an IT company called Intex. And that is where, I learned something very interesting, that I was in automobile and a IT company was saying that you come and head my organization. And I had no experience of IT. And I go there, and when I go there and I experience it, the challenges there, and I grow their business, that the confidence of the management was that they said, okay, we are looking at new project, what new can we do? And I came out with an idea of introducing mobile phones. So many of you may have heard about Intex mobile phones, and that was conceptualized and implemented and launched by me. When I did that, a very big thing dawned on me that, I have a great capability of becoming an entrepreneur myself. And I literally started the telecom business for Intex as a single-handedly first person. And then I built up the team and made it very successful. And ultimately that became around 8,000 crore business. Subsequently, when I joined Yamaha, this business is not doing well. I turned around them with a number of strategies, and it will require a full day to discuss and share what exactly I did and how I did, how differently and how uniquely I did to make it a big impact of a large ship being sailing in X direction, changing and making it successful. And similarly, Dr. Rashmi pointed out about my experience at Polaris, when I was the first person to join in India, and I created a big market in the country and made a difference to not only the company, but also to the country overall. It was music to my ears when I heard from one of the generals from Army to say that the brand is the lifeline of Indian Army, and he thanked me personally. I got invitation from Nepalese Chief of Army Staff when I supported them in times of distress when the earthquake happened, to invite me and my wife. I was very fortunate when President of India invited me for a dinner when Switzerland President came to India. And all these felicitations happened because of the capabilities that I was displaying all the while. So few months before, I also thought that why not I start my own concern, and I started my own company. The idea started a few days back, and today the incorporation has happened. So the business is going to go from here, and I started my own concern after contributing to various organizations. So I would like to share with you my learnings of life, that how I was working as an employee and how I am now an entrepreneur, and I'm my own boss. As Sanjay said, very important thing, that you have to be your own boss. You have to be and really enjoy that, and the responsibility. And all these while, I have been working on what should I do, what program should I create. I was in touch with a number of companies who were planning to come to India, and I thought that why just take up one assignment? Why can't I do multiple assignments for these companies who are planning to come to India? And I give them consultancy, because I started a company, an American company, from zero, right from incorporation to making it successful and profitable. I started a telecom business and made that successful. Similarly, the other turnarounds, and also I can use all those expertise and start helping the startup organization in the country, and also the global companies who are planning to come to India. That's how the idea of DSpin came in, and I started this organization. Now, who should start this? Is it that the people like me, or people like Mr. Munjal, or people like Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani can start? Is it that the person who is going to do is something extremely talented, which you think that you don't have, the students? Because I tell you, when I was in your position, I was a student. I never thought that I will start my own company. I always thought that I'll become a sales and marketing head. I become a CEO after that. All that. As a student, I never thought I'll become a CEO. I always thought that I'll become a sales and marketing head. When I became a sales and marketing head, I said, oh, I have achieved this. Now why not I become a CEO? And I became a CEO then. And that is when I started thinking, why not do something big? One of the biggest learning of all these years have been that, whenever I dreamt something which really make me, I have to do this. The moment I dream something big and I put a date to that dream, that dream became a reality. Like you student, I dreamt that I would become a sales and marketing head of a big organization in 8 to 10 years time. And actually in the 7th year, I became the sales and marketing head of Hero Motors. Thereafter, I decided again that, I should become a CEO after being few years the head of sales and marketing and going into that position. One day I thought that in next 5 years, I should become a CEO. And I started working towards how and what skills I should gather so that I become a CEO. And then Polaris happened. I became a CEO for them. Or even at Yamaha, I was a national business head. All these things started happening when I conceptualized a dream and put a date to it. And while all these learnings came to my life, I also thought that why not create something which is not just for myself. Like I've done enough for myself. I have a good name in the industry. I have earned, I think if I see that what I have earned, and if I try to just stay cool and do nothing at all, I can still not finish what I've earned in my entire life, even if I live to 100 years. Now, with all this, then I thought, why not do something for others? Like, can I do something big? And all the learnings that I have, the past experience, and knowing that if I put a dream, I put a date, it will get achieved. So I dreamt now that by 2040, which is 20 years from now, India, there'll be nobody in India who will be bekar. And bekar means that they are not doing anything. And bekar also means without a car. So my dream is that India, everyone, every household should have at least a car. And that is what my dream of 2040 is. And I'm working towards that. And in that light, I've started DSpin, where I'm saying that I'm going to help all the startups, all the global companies to come to India. They will generate employment, locals will start, and I'll support all the companies in India so that everybody start becoming big. Now, why I thought that I should do this? Because, and who should do this? I mean, who should do the startup? I feel that, Indian people at the core of it, even if you're doing nothing, if you're not even a student, just see that every person in India are, and to me, works like an entrepreneur. Even if you're doing any purchase, the way that you purchase, the way that you think about anything, you are already thinking like a businessman. The usage of the product, like how the best utilization of any product can be, you can learn in India. Like you buy a toothpaste, you use the toothpaste, and when it is done and all the bristles are gone, you start using it for doing the nada in your pajama. And like that, there are so many things that you can do. Even if when you feel that no, I can't do anything now with this. Before that, actually, you use it for started coloring your hairs or using the brush to clean something. And so every stage you get the best out of each product that you have. This is nothing but a businessman-like mentality. So forget about that. You have to start up, so you don't have any experience. You can't do any startup. Every individual, everybody at the core of the heart, every Indian is a businessman. Now you have to think about few hundred years ago, what was the story? It's a very interesting thing that I went to do when I became CEO. I also thought of that I should do something big for the company and for the country. And then I thought that let me go and study global management. So I went to University of Minnesota, Carlson Institute of Management, and the course was about global leadership, global market. And while I was studying, I got a very nice input from one of the professor who came from Egypt. And what he said was that, look, India and China, these two were the largest economy of the world. He mapped out 2000 years of business history of the entire world, each country, how they have grown. And he showed that China and India were the number one, number two economy some 2000 years before. And that is what is going to come in future. And he showed that how Europe came up, how US came up, and how China and India will overtake. This is the course that I did somewhere in 2012. And now it's 8 years. I can now clearly see that that's going to happen. And you have also to understand that if India has to become number one or number two, number one, the leaders in the world, who will do that? The only way that it is possible is the way that we have done 1,000 years before, because that's a known thread, that's a known path. We all know that. And how it was done then. You know that during the Mughal period, which is like 1500 centuries to 1800 century, 2/3 of the world export was happening is still from India. And the economy was in such a strong manner that if the Indian, after the Britishers came and they brought the Industrial Revolution, the Indian industry started dying. But what contributed to that growth? Why was India so big? Why was India considered Sone ki Chidiya? It was not because of some large enterprises. It was because of hundreds and thousands of small enterprises who were making great products, and they were selling all over, and Indian products were in great demand across the world. Even if you go to some countries like Europe or in the Middle East or in some of the Asian countries, you will find that in the museum, there are a lot of things that are kept there, which were imported from India. And this was, who were doing it? The Indian people were doing it. So Indian people, Indian mentality, and in word over, if you go to there's a business community, very strong Indian community, which is doing business in almost all the big countries of the world. So I'm sharing all this so that all the people who think that you can't do business because you don't have even the job experience, how can you start your business? No, it is not required. It is basically the quality that you have, what ingredients you have in your personality. If you study that, and you will know that you have great personality and you know how to do business. It's just that you have to realize this fact and then start behaving like that and start implementing that. And as Dr. Sanjay pointed out, there's a huge opportunity at every point of time. I know that today is a COVID time, everybody is at home. So people are thinking, how can I start the business? I can't even go out of the home. But then there is so many opportunities still there, like people who were doing, the businessmen who were into the core sectors, they saw opportunity during the COVID time. Some of them just kept quiet, or nothing is happening, I'm making loss. And then others who came out with products which were required at this time. For example, masks, the sanitizers, the all the hand washing equipments, so some number of things came up. A company like Mahindra came out to say that, we are an automobile company, but we will make ventilators. And so they created the concept, and the engineers developed during this time. So you can be very innovative and try to do something at this time also. What is the opportunity today? The entire business community were in pressure, but one community, one business area which was doing great was the pharmaceutical industry, because everybody was trying to get medicines at this time. The food and beverage industry, everybody was trying to say, oh, keep good food at home. If the lockdown continues, how will it? So everybody was buying a lot. So you have to see opportunity in every time. Don't think that today is a lockdown, so nothing can be done. Everything can be done. It's all depend upon your outlook. Be positive, think about what can be done rather than saying that nothing can be done. So for example, you would say that if everybody's talking about becoming, start your own enterprises, because there are no jobs in the country. So therefore, what do the organizations, what the institution have? They would come back to say, okay, why don't you start your own business? Because I can't give you a job. No, it's not true. What is, like, if you see, even today, there's a huge opportunity for jobs. Why? Because all the people, all the organizations, the most important thing is to sustain at this time. The business, if they are into non-core area at this time, their business is coming to a standstill. Now, if their business come to a standstill, what they have to do? They have to sustain the business. The business has to survive. And if the business has to survive, then they have to cut cost. In order to cut cost, what they can do, they may just stop the offices, the rental premises can be vacated. They can ask people to work from home. They can cut manpower. They can cut the marketing cost. All of these costs can be cut, and they can also reduce the manpower cost. Now, if they reduce the manpower cost, so which means that there is no job in the market, people will lose job. But then there is an opportunity for the students because the job does not get over. The job in those organizations is still there. The job by a high cost employee is not there now. So because organization cannot sustain that cost, because every year 8 to 10% increase is a norm in the country. So after 10 years, the cost is doubled or maybe 2.5 times. And therefore they are looking at something which is much lower cost. The job still remains. So a student can go and take this opportunity and do the job at much lower cost so they can contribute to the organization. So it's your thought process to think, what are you doing? The people who have lost the job, they can say, oh, I've lost the job. I have nothing to do now. What can I do? Oh, they can start their own business. They have expertise of 8 years and 10 years. They can become, there are so many companies who are going to come to India. There are so many startups that will happen. You can go and support those startups. So the people can think about that. All those people who not lost the job, but their salaries are reduced. Now they can say, oh, my salary is reduced. I can't do anything. At least you should thank that you are alive. You are not facing any health issues. You have less salary, but then you have the job. At least you're better than somebody who has lost the job. So it's all about the outlook. What is the outlook you have? So in the current circumstances, it's a golden opportunity for India to incubate small enterprises, MSMEs, and they can think on what can be done. For example, that these things can be done. I've already shared with you. Now, what you can also do is, like today there's a big problem of spreading of COVID. So what can be done? Now, you have to exchange paper, you have to exchange notes. One of the ideas is that can you develop certain machines? Can you do something where, all the currency notes, all the papers, documents that people are using, it can go through a machine. And when you send a paper inside the machine, and what comes out is virus-free paper, virus-free currencies. The demand of this would be huge in all the banks, all the police department, all the government offices where they have to do work on paper. And how it can be done, there's a technology available, which is ultraviolet rays. You can create certain instrument like that. When you think on what can be done, what should be done, there are huge opportunities still. You have to still think, as basic as that, selling food items, that cannot be stopped at all. So you have to think on, can we make some food items and start supplying to people? Can we prepare lunch and send it to people who are locked at home? I can do home deliveries. So there is endless opportunities if you think what to do, and there is no opportunity if you think nothing can be done. So it's all about the mindset. So I would recommend that all of you please look at what can be done. You change the outlook in a way that you start thinking, I can do this, rather than thinking that it's not possible. So the approach is, there's a problem in the market. I don't want to do anything. I will just lie down. After 2-3 months, when the market opens up, then I'll go and look for an opportunity. Or you can say, oh, there's lots of problem. Let me think what I can do now so that it can ease the problem of the people. The businesses become successful. Why? Because they understand what is the requirement in the marketplace and what project is needed right now and what strength you have, so that you can implement that. So based on your skills, like you make very good food, you can get into food industry. You do very good entertainment, you can create an entertainment company. You have very high technical knowledge, and you have friends have very high technical knowledge. You have the brain joined together and create that machine that I was talking about. So like that, there are hundreds of opportunities that can be created. And believe me, you would be playing a big role in this success. India by 2040 would definitely be, on top of the world, and would having hundreds and thousands and lakhs of new entrepreneurs. They would all be very successful. And I am dreaming already that India would become Sone Ki Chidiya again. And you can play a big role. And there are, incubation centers available in your own college. And besides that, there are services available by some number of people. Dr. Rashmi knows me very well. So if there is any need to help you all, I would apply my whatever knowledge I have to make many of you successful. You can reach out to me on, I'm available on almost all the social media and you can reach out to me, and I would be happy to help anyone who would like to be successful and who would like to do something great at this distressed time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And there is a one question. Pankaj sir, there is a one question that almost 80% of its labor force is part of the informal sector, which is expected to take major hit to MSME as a result of the lockdown. What solution might be in your opinion?
See, if the labor goes out, I mean, first of all, the latest management concept in the world is to be lean. Indian people are very, used to of having very high manpower. There are so many tools and machinery available today that you don't need huge manpower to do the task. You have to think, like if you go to US, you see the fields, the agriculture fields, they are many times more than what we have, the agriculture land that we have in India. The farmers, what they have in India, and farmers, the fields that they have in US. Now, but they don't have that kind of a manpower. How do they operate? They use the gadgets, they use the machinery, and they do it by themselves, or you keep very low manpower and execute things. And believe me, I have learned this, I have experienced this, that with lower manpower, you are more efficient. If with the lean management and with the people that you have, you can do much more than you have just more people. And all these laborers who have gone out, many of them would be willing to come back provided the situation improves. And many of them may get opportunities in their own homeland, in the villages. And that is what I think would be the right step. You have to think on how to run your organization like what the Western world does. And this is a golden opportunity for you to do things with a very few manpower. Crisis creates opportunity. This is a crisis situation. You don't have people which are easily available. Now, how can you work? You can work through very lean manpower, by yourself, by few friends, by few people who are willing to work, or those people who are left, who have not been doing jobs. If the skills levels are less, you can approach there's so many universities who have come up, the skill universities. You can get the skilling for the people who are already there and get the work done with a lean manpower. So my suggestion is start thinking in a lean management way, in a way where you are very flexible to the problems that you are facing right now.
Sanjay sir, we would like to listen your opinion also.
Okay. Can you please repeat the question once again? So I'm sure that I'm responding to the question in a right way.
The question is, almost 80% of its labor force is part of the informal sector, which is expected to take major hit to MSME might be, in your opinion?
Which is going to take the major hit?
Major hit to MSME.
Okay.
Major hit to MSME.
Okay. So I think, first of all, we have to be very clear that informal sector does not mean that they are not enterprises. That's number one. In fact, the informal sector is the pool of micro enterprises. Most micro enterprises exist in informal sector. That's number one. Number two, whatever we may say that it's going to hit, that's not true. Because remember, the people who are in informal sector, these are the people, are the labor force, these are the people whose pockets are very shallow. They don't have deep pockets. And when your pockets are shallow, for your own survival, you will have to do something. And that's why it's just a very temporary phenomena, and it's also an opportunity. The opportunity is because the labor is spread all over India, everywhere. And as I was saying in my talk, It's not necessary to think about doing a business in Faridabad or Gurgaon or Delhi or NCR region. You can start your micro enterprise anywhere in the world, even in a remote area, even in a village. And that's the opportunity you should see, that the people with experience, the labor with experience is now within your reach, even in a remote area. So I will say it's a boon in disguise, and it's an opportunity rather than a problem for MSME sector.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much, sir, Pankaj sir. You have given very good ideas, and you have focused that how the people can get opportunity or grab this opportunity in the COVID-19. You have given the light on the business opportunities in this COVID-19 situation. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Now I would like to invite Miss Pooja Gupta. She is a classical yoga teacher, holistic lifestyle coach who offer workshops based on natural laws of health in symbiosis with 5 elements. Led an ashram life for 3 years at Isha Foundation. She is a founder of Ayush and entrepreneur working for well-being of all through classical yoga and holistic food and lifestyle. She is a MBA, and earlier she was working in a corporate sector, but now she has started his own business with his friend who is in New Jersey, Mr. Sumit Jain, Ayush company. Miss Pooja, please proceed and light our student that how they can start their business.
Thank you, Rashmi ma'am, for this opportunity to offer how Ayush was born. Good evening, gentlemen, and all the participants. It's a privilege and a blessing to offer my projects that we offer through Ayush. So, myself, I'm Pooja, as Rashmi ma'am had introduced me. I'm a classical Hatha Yoga teacher, and I'm a qualified MBA, and I had led a very nice, enjoyable corporate life. But as Sanjay sir and Pankaj sir had said that there was I'm very free. My freedom is very precious to me. Though my corporate life is very enjoyable, but I'm still busy in the corporate world in spite of the CEO.
Okay, today with us, Dr. Sanjay and Dr. Pankaj sir has given us a lot of idea that how in this pandemic situation we can do a business. We have a lot of opportunity. We can do a work from home. We can start a business from home. Today, I wish to highlight 3 points that I believe are important in terms of relation between MSME and sustainable development at the global level. First, we need to take MSMEs more seriously as a genius partner in achieving the sustainable development globally. The sustainable development are not abstract idea, but rather a set of concentrate and specific goal which needed to be implemented on the ground. When it comes to action on the ground, MSME could serve as the best partners for the United Nations as they form the backbone of most economics developing and developed alike. In fact, according to the data provided by the International Trade Center, MSMEs constituted over 90% of all firms around the global and account on average 60 to 70% of total employment and 50% of GDP at a global level. Second, with the advent of the fourth industry revolution, MSME can give development a human face. We are not yet sure what kind of future technology advancement such as automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence will bring about. There are widespread concerns that the growth of technology could inequality and deprive the development process of human element at this critical situation. We need to go back to the basis and carefully consider what all of these technology advancements hold for our future. In implementing the sustainable development, we should always put people at the center. There will be a MNSE, MSME. Entrepreneur is achieving this. In the content of the sustainable development, the role of the entrepreneurship is a very big. He is playing a vital role in the development of the nation. He help in the improving of the quality of the life for ordinary people, including disadvantages group is recognized as it contributes to building resilient infrastructure, promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and another motivation, and to promote development-oriented policies that support productive activity, decent job creation, entrepreneurship, creativity and innovation, and increase the formalization and growth of micro, small and medium-sized enterprise, including through access to finalized service. Entrepreneur is developing countries and countries with economics in transitions, however, face challenges such as lack of competitiveness, unreliable and unaffordable electricity, the digital divide and inadequate financing that limit their engagement in productive activities and contribution to inclusive development. Our government is focusing on the entrepreneurship development, skilling and entrepreneurship completely with each other. Skills are fundamental to, but not sufficient for gaining decent jobs. Improved productivity through skill development must be complemented by economic growth and employment opportunities. They are collectively a requirement to the government's pursuits of holistic development of the nation. The ministry under its mandate therefore not only focus on skilling, but also guiding the entrepreneurship movement in the country for speedy reorganization of the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Recently, our government has announced 20 lakh crore rupees for MNMSE to help the people, those who are running their small, medium enterprises. At last, I would like to give a big thanks to Dr. Sanjay sir, Mr. Pankaj sir, who has accepted my invitation in a short period. It was an excellent message from both of sides. You both have enlightened on lot of points. We would like to listen you again and again. And my big thanks to Director Sir, who has supported me to organize this event in a very short period, because we have not planned to organize this program. Last night at 8 o'clock, this message came in my mind and we have to conduct this. So thank you very much to Director Sir, Chairman Sir, who has trusted on me and given me this opportunity to handle Institution Innovation Council and run in Technia incubators for our students, and our students can get a big benefits from this cell. And we are trying to prepare them to become an entrepreneur. They would give their big contribution to the nation. And as earlier I have said that Vivekanand has said that a teacher is a man making in the support of the nation building, and same the Chanakya has said that teacher is a creator of the nation. So I would like to thanks to everyone, those who have given their precious time. A big thanks to my speakers from USA. Big thanks to Sanjay sir. Big thanks to Pankaj sir. You have accepted in a very short period and given us your time. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much, sir. And Sanjay sir, whenever you are in India, please inform me. We would like to meet you. And yeah, and Pankaj sir is in India, and Pankaj sir has now started his own company. He is a CEO of D-Spin and Consulting Intellectual Icon 20 India. So I would like to connect again and again with the Pankaj sir. Thank you very much, sir.